In this lesson, we're exploring the interaction of light and materials. Let's look back at the video you saw earlier in the lesson. When do you see shadows? Do you think you'd see a shadow outside if it was completely dark? In this activity, you'll observe what happens when light shines on different types of materials. To investigate the way light interacts with different materials, you'll use a flashlight, foil, plastic wrap, and wax paper. Have you ever noticed how light seems to pass through some things and not others? Have you ever wondered why? In a few moments, you'll observe light interacting with foil, plastic wrap, and wax paper. Before you begin, make a prediction. What objects do you think light will go through? Later in the lesson, we will test aluminum foil, wax paper, and plastic wrap. Take a moment to share your predictions with your classmates. Then select Continue. Observe what happens as the flashlight shines on each material. Your role as a scientist is to observe carefully. First, look at your data table. Listed on the left side are the materials that are being tested. On the right side of the table is where you'll write or draw your observations. Select Foil to watch what happens when a flashlight shines on aluminum foil. What happened? Did the light pass through the aluminum foil? Record your observations in the table. When ready, select Next. Next, select wax paper to observe what happens when light shines on wax paper. What happened? Did the wax paper block the light from the flashlight? Record your observations in the table. When ready, select Next. Now, select plastic wrap to observe what happens when a flashlight shines on that material. What happened this time? Record your observations in the table. When ready, select Continue. You've probably noticed that there are 2 empty rows in your data table. You'll be able to fill these areas in shortly. You are going to observe how light interacts with 5 more objects. These are a water bottle, a paper plate, a safety glove, a sponge, and a piece of cardboard. Choose 2 of these objects and write the names in your data table. When ready, select Continue. Now, let's check out what will happen when light shines on these other objects. Watch as the rest of the objects are tested. Think about what happens to the light when it shines on these objects. To start the video, select anywhere inside the red rectangle. Here you see the light interacting with a water bottle. What do you observe? Look at how the light interacts with the paper plate. Can you tell the light is on when it's behind the paper plate? Here you're observing light interacting with the safety glove. What do you see? Now the flashlight is shining on a sponge. What do you observe? Here you see the light interacting with a piece of cardboard. What do you see? If you need to see how light interacts with any of the objects again, then select the play button beside that object's image. If you don't need to replay any of the object videos, or you're finished watching the videos, then select Continue. Record your observations in the data table. When you're ready, select Continue. Now that you've collected your data, take some time to analyze your data and communicate your findings. Use your data to complete the Communicate section. When ready, select Continue. Did you ever notice that on a hot sunny day, it usually feels cooler in the shade? Shade is a shadow made by materials that block all or some light. In the story A Constant Friend, you'll hear about a boy and his shadow. Follow your teacher's instructions. To begin the story, select Listen. To skip the story and move on, select Continue. Jeremy took a deep breath. He picked up his book bag. "Okay, Mom," he said. "Let's go." Mom heard his worry. "This first day will be the hardest," Mom said calmly. "But it won't be that bad." "I don't know anyone," Jeremy said with concern. "I left all my friends in Michigan." "We left the cold there, too," said Mom cheerfully. "Look at this gorgeous sunny day." She stopped walking. "In fact, that strong light from the sun guarantees you'll have a friend with you everywhere." Mom laughed at his puzzled face. "It's your shadow. When the sun is shining, your shadow buddy is with you." When Mom said goodbye, his shadow didn't leave him. Even in the brightly lit classroom, Jeremy could find his shadow. Miss Simmons assigned him a buddy named Ethan, who was really nice. Jeremy started to feel better. Until recess came. Ethan ran off to do something fun. Jeremy stood and watched all the kids playing happily together. He looked for his shadow, but he couldn't find it. Mom was waiting after school, and his shadow had come back too. "Was your day okay?" Mom asked. "Yes," Jeremy nodded. "Except for recess. That's when I wanted a friend." "And your shadow?" asked Mom. "He wasn't around," Jeremy muttered. Mom looked doubtful. "Isn't recess outside?" "Yes, after lunch." "Oh, it was noontime. That explains it." Sometimes Mom made no sense. "Tomorrow I'll ask to join a game," Jeremy said. "I need real friends, not just a shadow." Mom put her arm around him. "You'll have lots," she promised. Jeremy had a feeling she was right. Still, he was happy to see his shadow in front of him. "Things will be okay," he said. His shadow nodded with him. Now, after listening to the story, use what you have learned to answer the remaining questions at the end of the activity.